but they topped me. They drove up to my luncheon in a cable car, right on the grass, mind you. And you can't see it in this picture, but my socks are missing. And speaking of missing, in case when you meet the group, you don't get a good look at their faces, it's not our cameraman goofing. Remember, this is the group who'll never be seen without their makeup. Well, we're in San Francisco, but look, I figured if I am going to invite Kiss to lunch, I mean, how can you take a group that just won the Gallup poll as a #1 group in America and sit them on the grass? Now, the last time I saw you, let me refresh my memory. You were at a swimming party after your Madison Square Garden appearance, and we were all underwater.
That's right.
All right.
I lost my boots in the pool.
I lost your boots in your pool? That was one of the calm parties, right?
Yeah.
All right, where have you been since then?
Well, we just got out of there yesterday.
Only yesterday? Gee,
We did go to Japan.
We went to Japan.
2 weeks. We did a Japanese tour.
Yeah, how was it?
Oh, it was wonderful. It's amazing because the kind of reaction that you get in Japan is pretty much what was going on in the States during the mid-'60s for all the British groups. We got off the plane. There was thousands of kids at the airport.
Chase your car, like, you know, like if you saw a Hard Day's Night when the Beatles get in the car, all these little girls running after the car, falling over one another.
You think it's really going to be really fun until you're in a car that's totally covered with kids screaming.
Yeah, it's a little scary.
And you get a little scared and you say, well, this is the way it's going to end.
What happens in Japan with the language barrier? I mean, how do they listen?
Well, it's amazing because when we were doing the shows, at least I was worried. I was saying, well, what am I going to say to them?
Yeah.
And what are they going to understand? And what you're dealing with more over there is inflection. They respond more to the way you use your voice rather than what you say.
We found out later, though, that Japanese and English are two languages you have to take. It's a bilingual society. I mean, people don't speak English from beginning to end as a second language, but everybody understands rock and roll, everybody understands Coca-Cola. I didn't say that, did
We all
I?
had interpreters with us, too, right? Like, people would travel with us, and they would, like, we all had our own bodyguards.
We had these very intense bodyguards that were small, very quiet, with crew cut.
But when you're in the hall, for instance, and they're in the middle of you doing your numbers, I mean, they don't need translation as to what the lyrics of the songs are.
The first couple of nights, I tried to speak a little bit of Japanese to the audience, and I probably asked them how their livers were. I don't know.
Who gave you the words? Did somebody coach
The bodyguard. I hope he was on our side.
Yeah, you don't know what you were saying
Really?
to him, right?
Really?
We soon found out, though, that stuff doesn't work. Everybody pretty much wants you to be yourself. And that's really what they wanted. They wanted to see Kiss perform on stage as Kiss.
They really
wanted to not make any concessions either way.
And did you get a lot of, well, like, for instance, if you walked around in what town is it, Tokyo?
Tokyo.
Okay. Even with the glasses and everything, were you recognized?
Absolutely.
Oh, no question.
We're so much taller than everybody else.
That's these people, and not only that, you can't even buy shoes in that place.
Why not?
Their feet small.
So small.
Really?
Yeah, we saw some nice shoes and things.
Well, but you guys are not exactly, you know, average men. I mean, you're all tall, much taller than the average man on the street.
Yesterday we were in a hotel and the lady came over and wanted to know if we were a basketball team.
Oh, that's for sure. It's a new team called Kiss.
Kiss
You know, that's an
Globetrotter.
idea you could try. It just so happens I have that tour on tape, which I'll show you right after this. Now, that's not We'll talk about their phenomenal costumes and makeup when we come back in just a minute. I got a copy of your comic book. That is phenomenal. Whose idea was that?
That happened pretty much by accident. Everybody was kind of joking around, you know, talking about how we were superheroes and all the rest of that. And one thing led to the other, and then Marvel started getting letters from our fans about, gee, why don't you start a comic book about Kiss? They are real superheroes. They're real walking, live human.
And it's the first time ever with a rock group.
Yeah, that's really a living dream. You know, I mean, you grow up reading comic books when you're 15, 16, and all of a sudden, a couple of years later, there's a comic book out on you.
And, all right, now tell me about recording. What's your feeling about a live album as opposed to studio? I mean, most groups, I say, sound better in a studio situation because of the quality. but then they can't recreate that excitement in the studio. But you managed
They're two different mediums, they really are. I think we're a lot more exciting live because we get a chance to feed off the people. Is once the adrenaline starts running in you, you really can't avoid that. When people are screaming your name and, you know, they don't stop from beginning to end, it pushes you to greater height. On the same hand, you're capable of a lot better playing in the studio because you're not, I mean, there are no diversions. You're sitting down and you're playing your instrument and you're trying to be a lot more technical and very precise. I mean, there's a here and there's a there to both arguments. One is cleaner, but I think it's less exciting. I think
you really need both.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to do. If you want technically perfect sounding records for what we're doing, then that's why we put out studio albums. But to really catch the energy and the sentiment and everything that's going into what we do, because in essence we're a live band. We really have to do live albums.
You do, but it's amazing to me now in even some of the early albums, some of the cuts that I loved, you know, Firehouse and Strutter, I can picture you on stage because unlike most groups, you've got it all in the grooves, that same feeling. You know, I wonder if there's anybody out there who doesn't know what you do on stage, but somebody's grandmother someplace may have never seen Kiss, and I just want to kind of describe it.
We're kind of like four John Denvers.
After a long hair.
The stuff that goes on stage, like, for instance, the smoke, the blowing the fire, the levitation of the drums. How did that all start?
It's really a group effort, you know? It really is.
What about the original concepts of the facial things? I mean, that to me is the most exciting.
That's really funny. Nobody ever sat down and...
Thanks, Paul.
Nobody ever sat down and said, hey, you be this and you be that. We initially knew that to be a little bit different and to be special on stage, you had to be bigger than the average. No, you had to be bigger than a normal human being. There was a kind of a star quality.
You sneaky thing. How many inches are the shoes?
They're 7
inches, which makes them 8'6".
Something like that. Yeah.
All right, so that's what. But you didn't say, look, you do whiskers and I'll do.
Everybody came up with their own creation, and pretty much from the depths of our subconscious or whatever.
Certainly did. Do you feel that this makeup and the stance that you affect on stage, do you think that that's the real...
I don't know if it's real. I know it's part of me, and I know that that our stage persona is at least as much a part of us as we are off stage, but you can't be either or all the time because everybody's got many different facets. That's a big word.
I think people would really be amazed.
Got a lot of sides to it.
People on the street would really be amazed if they just let themselves be a little bit looser and let their imaginations go a little wild and be a little more creative. You know, when you were asking about who came up with the idea and how it happened, I think everybody's got it in them to do something like that. It's a matter of everybody just being loose enough and not really worrying about what somebody next to them has to say about what they're doing.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Paul. Most of us are in constant fear of being criticized if we show something that's not apparent or that it's a little off the beaten path.
Yeah, but it's a little bit hard. I mean, it's not all that hard to be frightened of criticism because before we put one foot on the stage, people are going nuts and berserk. So we've got that kind of...
But we understand that, but it didn't start that way, Gene. Look.
Well, it has to do with belief, you know. I mean, if you believe that you belong on stage, then there's a kind of... It's not anything you can really verbalize. If you belong on stage, then it's really kind of self-evident. If you feel uncomfortable on stage, an audience can sense that instinctively and they'll pounce on you. They won't let you...
Well, let's go back. Like, for instance, Peter is wearing a hanging earring. Now, before you became a superstar, I mean, did you have the kind of confidence to say, okay, I'm going to walk out in Brooklyn in a hanging earring? Would you have done it? I mean, it looks super,
Peter,
by the way.
Peter did some... I can remember Peter...
Walking in the dresses.
Dresses?
No, I remember Peter...
In Brooklyn, Peter, that's not unusual at all.
I can remember when we were rehearsing.
It depends where in Brooklyn.
We were rehearsing on 23rd Street in New York when we first got the group together. And Peter came in one day with the weirdest haircut I ever saw in my life. And it was part of that whole trip of each person being willing to put himself out and get laughed at if need be. We laughed at him, no.
Well, it was Peter who originally put the ad in Rolling Stone, saying drummer will do anything, right?
Yeah, and he did.
That's it, and you're doing it, right?
I'm doing it.
And then the last person was Ace. Then you all put another ad.
Well, I was checking the Village Voice ad every week, trying to find a band that was doing original material, and I saw the ad. I went down there with What did I was wearing? One red sneaker and
one red and one orange sneaker.
No wonder. Was it Paul or Gene that said the first? No, it was you, Peter, that once said to me, the first time Ace came down to audition, we thought he was weird, but I forgot to ask you why. Now I understand.
Well, that wasn't the end of it. After he walked in with his
wall.
Yeah,
and
that's a little bit hard to do because both walls are parallel to each other. We just kind of veered off.
Matter of fact, when Ace first played with us, we were really pleased with the way it sounded, and yet we didn't ask him to join us immediately.
Why not?
I, for one, thought he was a little too weird.
That's right. You were the one that told me
I said, let's wait a week, try some more people.
Didn't work.
Pretty strange.
Was it the weirdness of the just the odd getup, or was it something in his demeanor?
He's playing.
Well, his equilibrium was a little bit off. That's another big
Ace had to stand me straight.
Right.
At the time, Ace had a mustache. That's a well. It
was an eyebrow.
It was a spare eyebrow.
It was something that vaguely resembled that, hanging over his lip. He didn't have a top lip.
You know, it's lucky you four like each other.
I thought that we were fine.
It is lucky we like one another.
Somebody someplace. What would have happened, for instance, if you'd gone on this trip with the band suppose it hadn't happened? You know,
I would have kept trying.
Would you have then thought that maybe this particular approach, this makeup,
Well, it was really against the grain of what was going on. Everybody in New York was doing a kind of... There was something going on called glitter, which was later tagged on to us, but which really doesn't have a lot to do with what we're all about.
I think what you did was introduce theatrics in music, and glitter was pale by comparison, except for Bowie. I think
I don't know exactly what we've done in terms of introducing or not introducing, and I don't think anybody's really paid that much attention in the band anyway to what we really mean.
Right.
It's more, the things we're most concerned with is getting up on stage and doing the kind of things that we've always dreamt a rock and roll band should do. It's like, me looking at Paul or Peter or Ace and saying, hey, wouldn't it be great if you saw a band doing this?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't stand still. We simply went ahead and did it. We're the band we always wanted to see on stage.
Yeah, so you're fulfilling your own dreams.
We're not telling anybody what to think, how to dress, or even how to behave. I think the deepest sentiment we've ever expressed in a song was in Rock and Roll All Night and Party Every Day, which is not very deep at all. It's a pretty happy, almost shallow kind of statement, enjoy yourself, pretty much.
It certainly comes out right. I got an idea. Do you have enough to eat?
Sure.
We were just about to eat the flowers.
I know you killed the salami. Oh, no.
No,
The microphone, though, is not working as well as I
Terrific.
thought it
We can
would.
come back and eat some more later. I don't know how much time you've spent here, but this is my first time to really look around. Come on, guys, let's walk.